Hi, everybody. I'm Dom McDowell, and welcome to another Cubicle 7 update. I'm joined today by Pádraig and Elaine, and we're going to be talking through what we've been doing all month. It'll be very exciting. We're going to try and keep it really short, but if there's anything we don't cover you'd like to know more about, then do put that in the comments, and we shall try and get to that next time. So, what's been going on this month or last month, or I don't know how the calendar works, but with the last 30 to 31 day, no, 28 to 31 day slot of arbitrary timeliness, well, we've had lots. We've been blessed with loads of things turning up from our printers. So as you may have heard, global shipping has been a bit messed up recently. So things have been taking longer to get to us. So yeah, it's been great. We've had Middenheim and Archives of the Empire for Warhammer. Power Behind the Throne is almost here. Champions of Order for Soulbound turned up last week. Along with the reprint of the Warhammer GM screen as well. So if you've been waiting to get one of those, now is the time. So yeah, that's been great seeing those. We've had the Doctor Who role-playing game. I've been seeing lots of exciting stuff about that. And I think for all of our Whovians, there's some really exciting stuff coming. So yeah, it's looking great. And we'll be talking a lot more about that in a few weeks' time, or it might have already happened by the time this video is released.
That's the trouble when you're dealing with time travel, isn't it? You can't really be sure.
It does have some, yeah. It's
all timey-wimey, scheduley-wedgely.
I like the scheduley-wedgely. That's good.
Yeah. Can we borrow that?
Excellent. So yeah, looking forward to getting kicked off on the Doctor Who stuff. That's going to be great. On the other side of things, we are coming to the end of our journey with Lone Wolf. So we have a sale going on at the moment. So if there are any bits and pieces of our Lone Wolf adventure game range that you haven't had a chance to pick up, now is the time to do it. If you, again, it'll been on the website, but we are running a competition to give away a few copies of the Rookhaven book, which is very rare, and we would like to help some lucky fans to complete their collection. So have a look at that. That's all very cool. What else have we got? Victoriana, fans Victoriana. More stuff coming soon. We can't say too much about it yet, but we will be, and yeah, that's again looking really cool. Excellent. So as always, we do a text update once a month as well on where everything is that's been released or been announced and is in pre-order. So it just tells when something's gone to print, when it's like on press, or if it's on a boat coming across, or wherever it is in the development cycle. You can get an update on our monthly production update. So have a look on the website for that. And I think that's sort of like the big sort of over stuff. We've got Pádraig to date, who's the producer for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, who's going to be giving us an update on that. And Elaine Lithgow, who is looking after Soulbound. So she'll be giving us an update on that. And yeah, let's get into all that good stuff. So Pádraig, what's first? So what's been going on?
Happy to take it away. So I think since the last video we did, we've had a few new releases in PDF, as well as things arriving in physical print, which is great. But we've also had a few new releases. So the biggest one, I think, by a long way, is the Horned Rat, which is part 4 of The Enemy Within. And if you remember The Enemy Within from previous editions and have played it, you don't remember the Horned Rat, because originally it was not there. It was one of the early kind of intended ideas for The Enemy Within that, due to production things and the rather good Something Rotten in Kislev being slotted in instead, never happened. And working very closely with Graham Davis and a talented team of artists and developers and writers, we have made it happen. So you can grab that right now in PDF, and if you pre-order it from us, you get the PDF included immediately. And that's a very exciting new piece of The Enemy Within. And we bled and sweated and injected Warpstone into it to make sure it was really good, and I think we hit it, because I think the reception's been pretty positive so far. I think people seem to like it and are enjoying getting lost in well, I can't give too much away, but it is called the Horned Rat, and I think you'll be if not surprised, pleasantly fulfilled to find out what's in there. So that's been great, and it's been great to see the response. So really happy to have that out. The companion will be following along shortly, which will follow the same theme as previous companions and just give you more stuff to cram in there. So if you are looking for even more devious enemies to throw at your players, or alternative ways to handle things, or even a new career to maybe give your players a dig out if they're having a hard time, that will be in the companion. So that's very exciting. We've also released Uberstrike Adventures 2, which is a collection of 5 adventures set in the Uberstrike and the surrounding duchy. And they were released kind of like one by one. So if you pre-ordered, you'd have got all them already. But if you what you didn't get was the guide to the Duchy of Blackrock, which is where the Junkoids have retreated to after being driven out of Uberstrike. And through all the adventures, you'll be hearing a lot about that conflict, and you'll know that they're there, but you've never really gotten a good chance to meet very many of them. So the guide to the Duchy gives you, I think, a nice kind of 20 to 30 page sort of extra material on that. So if your players want to go out and figure out what happened with them, or why they were driven out perhaps, or what they're going to do about it and help them, or maybe attempt to stop them, then that's a nice little addition, I think, to take your kind of campaign set in and around Uberstrike. And then the other release, which just went out as of the time we're recording a couple of days ago, was the Cluster Eye Tribe, which is all about a group of forest goblins who are living deep in the Drakwold, hanging out and kidnapping people and poisoning with spider venom and so on. And that PDF gives you a nice little deep dive onto like one tribe of goblins, a whole bunch of advancement templates you can use to take the goblins or other core book creatures and turn them into skirmishers or soldiers or shaman, so that you can, so you get like some talents, skills, traits to add to your creatures that increases their challenge rating quite a bit. So if you found your group has been stomping its way through creatures that only have a weapon skill and don't have like some specific melee skills, this is a nice book to grab because it's not just for goblins. And the response to that has been really good, and it's kind of making us think that maybe we should do a bit more with that. So yeah, watch the space for that basically. Yep. So that's been fun, and that's what's out in PDF right now. Then other things that are happening, we've got the Hornrak journals, which are up for pre-order, and they'll be going to print along with the journal or along with the main campaign and the companion and everything. So they're a nice little addition. So there's player's journal and GM's journal, and they give you some tools to help making like tracking combats easier. You've got some player safe maps in Middenheim in the player's journal, so they can like make some notes or see where it is they're going and why and what they might be investigating. There's some nice character sheets in there. There are actually extra character sheets in the character journal for no reason other than you could meet with an untimely fate and need a backup character in a hurry. So you've got some spare materials in there. You've got room for your notes and tracking clues. It's a very investigation heavy sort of entry to the campaign. So it kind of came out of our own playtesting where we realized we were making an awful lot of notes as to who might be responsible for what exactly. So that's nice for the players. And then the GM can get their own one. And that's, of course, much more useful for deviously plotting exactly how to arrange the downfall of your characters, or to let them see some kind of adventure, who knows. But there's some nice material in there for like quickly sketching out maps, making notes, planning encounters, tracking initiative, order, and advantage, which is something that like can get overwhelming when you've got a lot of NPCs on the board. So that's a nice little addition, I think, for that kind of thing as well.
Yeah, I think it was one of those things that started out cool. We think, why haven't we done this before? There's this extra really cool bits that we've added in. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to those. I'm looking forward to using them.
yeah, they should be a nice
My
one.
inability to remember who's who, I think.
That was, you did stop me in some of our playtesting recently to be like, wait, I need to check the list of names to go through this long list of NPCs who may or may not be nefarious agents of Ruinous Powers.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a perfect journal to keep that kind of thing in.
Absolutely, yes. Make
the
list.
Yes. There's a good list and a bad list, I think, for your character. I wouldn't like to be on the bad one. So what else is coming up? So upcoming titles. I mentioned the companion to the Horned Rat already, which would be great to have out in PDF, and will, I think, expand your experience of the campaign as previous companions have. We're also deep into Empire and Runes, as I was just kind of hinting at there with some of the playtesting that's going on. So Empire in Runes, it has shaped up to be really, really interesting. At the moment, like some of our biggest challenges is kind of deciding what can't go in, because Empire in Runes takes a kind of a synthesis of a lot of 3 other editions, which kind of ended the Enemy Within in different ways, and takes a lot of those ideas, but takes some new notions as well that are kind of built on player feedback and some of our own kind of theories about how things could go. So there's quite a bit to wrap up in Empire in Runes, and a lot of contingencies to handle, and certainly I suppose there are multiple endings, but I mean every role-playing campaign has multiple endings because anything could happen. But in this one, we've identified like I think a few kind of key paths into interesting outcomes, and I wish there was a way to find out when it goes live, you know, what is the most common, where do people go, where do they fall down, what do they explore. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the feedback on that going forward. But I think, yeah, we've been enjoying that, and it's very exciting, and it's a little bit emotional to be going to the end of the Enemy Within. But it also is, you know, it's giving us a bit of clearance to look at like exciting and new projects to come as well. But I think this special edition, essentially 10-book series, has been a big, on the Woofrup desk, has been a huge kind of pillar of all of our lives for the last year or more. So it's been amazing and exciting and brilliant to work on. And, you know, it's great to see people enjoying it.
Yeah.
So if you haven't played it, you would enjoy it too. Go and grab it. The first 3 parts of the campaign, which is 6 books long, if you include the companions, I think are all about to be available in print as soon as Power Behind the Throne hits. So that is many, many months of gaming. And you can pick up the Horn Rat in PDF, and certainly by the time you get through that, Empire in Runes will be out as well in PDF. So that's something to look forward to, and something to experience if you haven't before. It's particularly cool. Coming down, things that aren't the Enemy Within. Archives 2 is on the way. So Archives of the Empire 1 was met with, I think people really enjoyed it. It was great for us as well to explore, you know, a chapter and articles worth of some topic that, you know, might be deserving of its own book somewhere down the line, but that would be a huge project and take a long time. So we can take a kind of a slice out of that and give players and GMs some of the most interesting kind of things they can do and dive in with straight away.
What did the first volume cover again?
The first volume covered a breakdown of the kind of peoples and provinces of the Empire. It included a guide to halflings living in the Empire, and which was fun, and a guide to the Mootland, which was brilliant, which I really, really loved, and I think people enjoyed that too. Includes some new careers, including the Badger Rider for halflings, which I'm not afraid to say began as something of a joke, and now I'm having people demand full stats for Badgers so that they can ride their way through Death on the Reich aboard them, or atop them. So that was exciting and fun for people. It also included a guide to the Lorelorn, which is a northern province, or a northern piece of Nordland, if you ask the Nordlanders, but an elven realm that wood elves who are somewhat different than their kind of southern kin down towards Apelor. And most of the wood elves that you run into in Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay hail from the Lorelorn. So now you've actually got like a nice inner look at like what it's like to be a wood elf, and the difference. They can look very monolithic from the outside, but when you get inside, obviously there are differences in cultural differences that they have between different stratifications of their society. So we dive into that, and I think that's really, really nice. So if you wanted to do a party adventuring through the Lorelorn, that would be worth picking up for that. We also had some really cool dwarf material in there, so Guide to a Dwarf Hold that I think was quite nice and exciting. And some a new class for elves, a new class for dwarfs, and a ton of new equipment that you might like as well. So if you find that you've used everything in the core rulebook and are really just excited to get your hands on some specific dwarf pistols or other exciting weaponry, you'll find it there. So Archives 2 is kind of following on from that template. A lot of the focus is going to be on ogres. So we have 2 nice chapters on ogres, treating them as player characters. So you can play an ogre if you want to devour your way through your adventures and maybe your adventuring companions if things go badly. You've also got a guide to like what ogres are like when they're away from their home realms. So they're a race or a species that also travel around, and you get a lot of ogre mercenaries and so on. So you get a look at what they're like when you encounter them in the Empire, which I think is very interesting. We've also got some nice bits on star signs in there, which has a kind of a You can pick a character creation, or have one chosen randomly, and you get like a little buff and a little detriment from that, which I think is a nice little twist. And it's got some nice lore on kind of folklore around that kind of thing as well. So yeah, that sort of stuff, just like nice, exciting, really intriguing articles that, it either don't necessarily merit a full book, or if they do, that would push them way down the line. So let's get something to you now. And it's a lot of freedom for us to kind of explore little ideas. And
it lets us add a lot of different things to somebody's game as well, doesn't it? It's I find them really cool.
Yeah. I mean, if you pick up one, you get a lot of small things you can add in that are all quite different. So that is cool.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. The Imperial Zoo is on the way as well, which is very, very nice and interesting. The art is kind of coming towards completion for that, which is cool. I'm very excited about that book. It's it's the collected journals of a scholar who's on an expedition for the Imperial Zoo in Altdorf, and they're kind of gathering their insights into the various beasts and creatures and monstrosities that make the old world their home. So that actually ranges around the Empire, down through Batonia, into Talia, and then back up to the zoo. And obviously the scholar and his companions are not left unchanged by their experiences. So you get a kind of a nice narrative element that I think could like help you inform, come up with campaign ideas. And you also get like some nice crunchy stats for a whole host of creatures that I know people are dying to get their hands on. And they're all like fully statted out. We give a couple of variants, and we've got some nice kind of punchy monsters in there. There's at least one campaign under if you really want to go out with a bang. So I'm excited for the zoo. That should be really fun. And then I'm going down through the show notes, and I see that we also want to mention BTTs. But I kind of want to. I don't think that should just be a Wolf thing, because I think that's something we're expanding across all our lines.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but to talk briefly about that, we're on the Foundry and we're on Roll20. So you can grab our core modules there. We've a little bit more out on the Foundry at the moment, but we're catching up on Roll20. So right now on Roll20, you've got the core module, you've got the starter set for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, which is a great way to get into the game. And we've got Rough 9 Hard Days, which is an interconnected series of 5 adventures that are terrifying and hilarious in equal measure. And they're available on both platforms right now. The Enemy Within will be coming to Roll20, and we've already got some elements of it on the Foundry. And they're great. They've been great, I think, throughout like the year, we should never name again, so that you can play online. But they're also just like really good tools for NPC generation. We can do some things there that you kind of can't do on the tabletop, which is interesting. So like on the Foundry and Rough Nights, that's very time driven. So you've got a little clock that all the players can see, and you can update the clock as you go along to track like where they are in the evening's events, and nice little touches like that. So they've been great for us, and I think we've been blown away by the response to them. And we want to get more of our games on there.
Yeah,
that's not too spoilery to say, I don't think.
No, absolutely not. No, I think it's something that we're really. It's a fairly, relatively new area for us, and a lot of development work goes into it. So it does take a little bit of time, but no, absolutely, it's something that I think I want to see everything that we do make its way into as many VTTs as we can.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, people love to play on there, and it's exciting to see, and we find it interesting too. So it's great to see people enjoying our games and new platforms.
Yep, definitely.
Cool.
No, thanks, Pádraig.
Yeah, I'm going to breathlessly stop now for a while.
Yeah, that's excellent. Okay, fantastic. So, Elaine, what's been going on with Soulbound?
Hello, yes, Soulbound. Oh my gosh. First of all, apologies if my cat continues to run around in the background and on the desk and screaming, and I'm sure people in the comments can spot the cat. So since the last time we spoke, both Steam and Steel and Stars and Scales have been released in PDF. Steam and Steel being like our big crafting book. And vehicles and anything that goes choo-choo. So there's Caradron Aether rigs and crazy new technology and guns and all this sort of stuff. We've got lots of Ironweld Arsenal equipment. There are new Fireslayer runes to get hammered into your Dwarden body and scream and go running at things that are way too big for you, but it's fine. And oh gosh, what else? Yes, lots of the vehicles and a massive alchemy section as well. for brewing lots of wonderful, terrible potions, poisons, and explosives. And along with all of this stuff is just an absolute metric ton of lore snippets and information on how people forge and the different realms and why they forge and all these sorts of things. So lots and lots in there, all just crammed in there, and that's been incredible to work on. And lots of people seem to be really enjoying it. And I'm low-key terrified of what various wonderful and horrible creations people will forge from this book. So if you manage to come up with something truly horrendous or ingenious, be sure to leave us comments and let us know the terrible things. So that's out in PDF just now. And in the same week, we also put out Stars and Scales, so it was a double whammy in 1 week, and that's our big Seraphon PDF supplement. So hotly requested. People love their Seraphon.
I think that's probably the one we've had the most requests for, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. That people have been gobbling that one up. So that's it offers just a huge amount of hello, sorry, my cat just jumped up there. It offers a huge amount of lore and information on the Seraphon. They've got a lot of very unique things going on with them in AOS because they're, alien beings of starlight that explode into stars when you cut them and bleed stars, and they're all very interesting. But then they can also coalesce, so they can become one with the realms and become more physical, sort of lizard-like beings and everything. So there's a lot of very cool and interesting stuff going on there. So butt ton of lore. We've got archetypes in there as well for the Saurus Guard and the Skink Star Priest. If you want to introduce some Seraphon into your games, you can do that. A bunch of stat blocks for various different Seraphon creatures and everything, so you can use them as enemies as well, or allies, who knows. What you do with your stat blocks is entirely up to you at your table. I'm not gonna come along and dictate how you use your stat blocks. And then we've also got talents, endeavors, things for your Seraphon characters to do in downtime, such as raising hatchlings or going into deep cryo sleep, and all these wonderful things, and talents and everything as well. It's just another one of these products. It's just crammed with so much stuff. I could talk about it for hours, but you can check out it for yourself. It's on sale and PDF as well right now. So those are the two hottest new releases right now. Outside of that, we've got the physical releases for Champions of Order and the Bestiary are all expected stores Q3.
Yep, I think so. Champions of Orders is downstairs here as we speak, and the Bestiary, I think, is just about to leave the printers, if I remember correctly. So really great to see the actual books starting to turn up. Very exciting.
It's always wild because we launch them on the PDF and then it feels like they're done, but then they're not done. There's still so much more to go until the physical books are in hand. So there's always a double dose of excitement with every product. So that's good fun. And coming up, next things we'll have for PDF release are Champions of Death and Artifacts of Power. So Champions of Death, similar to Champions of Order, it's a big book of player options on how to bring together bindings of death. So we're talking Soulblight Gravelords, and also our Bone Reapers and Ghouls and all these wonderful spooky ooky characters that your players can embody and do grim or heroic things. Be they villains or anti-heroes, we've got options for you in there. And the cover for that has been revealed. It had a cool interview with Beasts of War over on their channel. If you want to go check out, he speaks a bit more about the content, what's in there and everything. and I think you can find a link to that in our blog. So you can hop over there if you want to see the cover and all the coolness there. And
it's a very nice cover.
It is. It's one of my favorites. One of the things that we always do with these is include a new set of iconic characters. So we take the characters that are on the front cover and we stat them up and we put them in the book as they are, like we did in Champions of Order, and they have been a blast to do because it's like here's a giant necropolis stalker and a vampire lord and a necromancer and a crypt ghoul courtier, and how do we get all these disparate undead characters to work together. It has been great fun. So really looking forward to that one launching. And Artifacts of Power is also slated for PDF in Q3 as well, which is our big magic artifacts book, sort of magic items. So lots of cool things going in there as well, including information on endless spells and spell hunters and lots of very cool things. I'm not sure how detailed I can go into that one just yet, though. I don't know. I don't know if I'm revealing anything right now. I don't think I am. I think we've spoken about it.
I think that's all good. Yeah, absolutely. We'll probably have more of that next time.
Yes, certainly. That's it. It's up and coming. And yeah, that's it. It's been a good time in Soulbound land over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, lots of exciting.
Lots of exciting things. So hopefully you all feel the same and let us know what you're looking forward to.
Excellent, thank you. And Wrath and Glory, we don't have someone from Team Wrath and Glory with us this week, so we'll juggle through as best we can. So we've had a couple of recent adventure releases in PDF. The Bloody Gates and Wings of Valkyries, which are fantastic and all take part in the same battle. So they're telling sort of that story from sort of slightly different perspectives, if I remember correctly. And they're for different tiers of characters as well, so you can sort of move through them, which is excellent. They look great. Then we have Redacted Records and Church of Steel, I think, are the new releases. And we'll talk a bit more about Wrath and Glory next time. And we have the Player's Guide to the Forsaken System and Litanies of the Lost, and that is the Player's Guide. It gives you some more character options, but also tells you a lot more about the Gilead system as well. So there's some nice background information that you can glean from that one. And then Litanies of the Lost is the first adventure compendium, I should say. So yeah, those are getting on a boat shortly. So they should be getting into stores in a few months' time. So okay, well, we'll give you a bit of an update on that next time and in the production update as well. So cool stuff. Great. Excellent. Well, that's our sort of update roundup for today. We had a question posted under the last video. Pádraig, could you do the honors on that one?
Oh, I can indeed. So this is a question to do with the rules in Wolfrup. Hey guys, I've got a question regarding Shadow Mages, passive effects on protective spells in Warhammer Fantasy 4th edition. It is triggered by Ether Armor, so I think that whoever is playing this has sent us the question in English, but they're probably playing one of our excellently translated versions of Wolfrup. I think I know what you're talking about here. I think it's etheric armor. Or only spells granting the beast ability protection. It's not clear to our pen and paper group, and that's from Dominic. So to translate a little bit, I think it's that there is a passive bonus from spells of various lores, and the Lord of Shadow grants you a passive bonus to protective spells, and it's intentionally kind of vague about what counts as a protective spell. So obviously etheric armor is the natural example, but you can take that to mean any spell that you cast on yourself that grants you some kind of protection. So if it protected you from, let's cast using that lore, so if it protected you from spells or from being seen or from being stabbed in the face, those are all forms of protection. So it would apply to any of those spells. And if you find yourself asking, well, Pádraig, there aren't some of those spells that you've just mentioned, they don't exist, then my answer to you is that they don't exist yet. Because we will be having a nice big chunky book of magic coming along to supplement things like Solasara spells, which is a small PDF we did of magic recently. So we know that people want spells and they are coming. So yeah, Dominic, you can take the more charitable interpretation of that question, I think, if I'm understanding it correctly.
Excellent. Thank you, Pádraig, and thanks, Dominic. if you have any more questions, then do put them in the comments, and we will try to get to those next time. Well, thank you all for listening. If you want to keep up to date with all of our latest news, then apart from watching these videos, you can also have a look at the Cubicle 7 blog on cubicle7games.com and click on news and events at the top of the page. You can sign up to the newsletter. That means that you'll make sure that you get the news summary. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And on social media, look out for the hashtags Warhammer Wednesday, Mortal Realms Monday, and 40k Friday posts. You can work out when those are yourselves. And we also have, it's a big puzzle, and I'm not
had
getting any
some
more
kind of
clues.
investigation journal that they could
Yes,
puzzle
that's what you need.
And then, of course, the YouTube channel, which is where you are now, probably. Excellent. So thanks, everybody, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Thanks all. Take care.